Welcome to the LEGO Multiverse. A dimension unlike you've ever experienced. One in which the rules, if there ever were any, do not exist. I am
Shadow Streak,
your guide through these fascinating worlds. So sit back as I take you on a journey through time and space.
Aha! I see you're interested in LEGO Dimensions. Well, let me go ahead and take this opportunity to say welcome to the beginning of my overarching video series all about the vast scope of LEGO Dimensions and all of the content held within it. For those who may be unfamiliar, LEGO Dimensions was a gigantic crossover Toys to Life video game featuring a cacophony of different intellectual properties that all mesh together into one giant game. During its run, the game received over 60 individual content packs and represented over 25 multimedia franchises in the game, and I intend to cover it all. For the purposes of this series, however, this video in particular simply serves as an introduction. I will be focusing more on the background and setup of the game rather than the gameplay itself, so if you're looking for a review of the main story mode or even coverage on a particular character pack, you may want to check the corresponding videos that specifically focus on them. Rather, in this video, I will be providing you with a brief background of the game, the equipment required to play the game and how it works, and then I will wrap things up by going over a brief rundown of every pack in the game and the order I intend to cover them. If that sort of thing interests you, then strap yourselves in because we've got a lot to cover in a short amount of time. That said, let's get right into it. I now present to you Dissecting Dimensions, an introduction.
Welcome to a universe of iconic characters, ultimate adventure, and endless possibilities. A universe where real LEGO toys are brought to life using the revolutionary new LEGO Toy Pad. Where those very same toys can be built and rebuilt, unlocking new powers and abilities. A mashup experience that will continue to expand for years to come. This is LEGO Dimensions.
LEGO Dimensions is such a strange game. Never in my life did I expect to see a crossover between Homer Simpson, Scooby-Doo, Lord of the Rings, DC Comics, The Goonies, and Doctor Who of all things, but well, here we are. Then again, I also never expected to be able to play an official video game featuring Mario, Sonic, Mega Man, Pac-Man, Cloud Strife, Simon Belmont, Minecraft Steve, and Sans Undertale either, but lo and behold, that exists too. Anyways, LEGO Dimensions is a video game originally released back in the good old year of 2015, and it had initially piqued my interest back when I saw its announcement during the E3 conference of that year, with all sorts of characters appearing in the same trailer together. I was completely for this. I mean, who doesn't love getting to see their favorite characters from all sorts of different properties interact with one another? That idea alone was initially what sold me on getting the game. Until I realized it was a Toys to Life product. Why is that such a big deal? Well, Toys to Life games were a popular trend during the early and mid-2010s that took children's love of toys and video games and essentially combined the two into one product. Other games that popularized this trend in the gaming market were titles like Skylanders and Disney Infinity, but by the end of the 2010s decade, these games had seemed to die out just as Rock Band did after the late 2000s. If you've seen previous videos of mine, you know that I was never a fan of said Toys to Life games for the very reason many others enjoyed them. Yes, I understand the perspective of getting a cool figurine or toy out of the deal, but being forced to purchase additional merchandise just to get the full experience of one video game? To me, it's essentially just another form of paid DLC with higher price tags justified by the fact that there's a toy included. Now, to be fair, at least in the defense of LEGO, this was already a toy product beforehand and had many video games developed by Traveler's Tales prior to this one, so the game had the track record of quality products in both markets to justify why a game like this would exist. But my problem with it stems from the fact that there was no option available to play the game's content without purchasing the figures, or at the very least, the characters' toy tags, or NFC stickers if you prefer to go that route. Ultimately, I was not interested in these character packs because of how absurdly expensive they were. I mean, they're asking you to spend upwards of $50 to $60 on some of these, and a total of over $800 just to be able to play the full game at retail price. You could buy an entire console, a console subscription service, and an entire plethora of games for the same amount of money. No thanks, LEGO. That's just asinine. But for a time, it worked on people, and these games were wildly successful for a few years. Unfortunately for Dimensions, it was a little late to the game. Skylanders, Disney Infinity, even Amiibo were already out on store shelves by the time LEGO made it onto the scene, and I'm certain that had it been released just a year or two earlier, the game overall could have been way more successful than it was. Now, I personally used to be super into LEGO as a kid. I had plenty of LEGO video games like LEGO Star Wars and LEGO Indiana Jones, and I collected a ton of sets between Spider-Man, Power Miners, Exo-Force, Bionicle, and of course Star Wars, just to name a few. I eventually fell out of my LEGO phase for a while though, something upwards of 10 years, until I decided to take it upon myself to check out LEGO Dimensions for the first time in 2020. After putting it off for over half a decade, I decided to give the game a shot by making a video on the Powerpuff Girls content that was originally made, seeing as I was reviewing the Powerpuff Girls 2016 reboot at that time. And while the game did have its fair share of noteworthy accomplishments, it was ultimately held back by a lot of factors that I was unfortunately afraid of. However, given the surprisingly warm reception that video received from all of those that watched it, I've decided to go ahead and give the game a second chance, this time aiming to obtain the full experience which will hopefully mitigate many of those issues that I had encountered. I experienced several forms of roadblocking that ultimately dampened my first impressions, and I really want to give the game another try because I feel like there could be a very solid game in there somewhere. It's just that, in order to witness that game, you need to own almost all of the character packs, and like I mentioned earlier, that's not a cheap investment to make. I was originally planning on going out of my way to purchase all of these packs so that I could show them off in my videos. The figures, the vehicles, and the boxes they come in, but the principle of the matter prevented me from doing so. As several viewers have put it, if the game is going to cheat me, I'm allowed to cheat back. As such, I simply went on Bricklink, bought toy tags for all of the characters, and didn't really bother with the minifigures, seeing as most of my audience didn't seem to think it was necessary. Now, with over 25 different intellectual properties represented, plus a main story mode, additional levels, entire adventure worlds, and battle arenas, there is quite a lot of subject matter present here that is going to make talking about every single aspect no easy task. So with that said, where should we start? Why, with the starter kit, of course.
The LEGO Dimensions Starter Pack is your gateway to adventure. You can build your favorite heroes and vehicles. Use the LEGO Toy Pad to control the action. The greatest movies and TV shows in 14 epic levels. You're gonna need a bigger imagination.
We heard you have LEGO Dimensions.
Me?
Starter Pack includes 3 characters and 1 vehicle. Some toys and consoles sold separately, rated everyone 10 and up.
In order to play LEGO Dimensions, you need to own the official starter kit, which comes with the toy pad, 3 characters in the form of Batman, Gandalf, and Wildstyle, as well as a vehicle for the Batmobile. Of course, you can also play the game with any other figure that you own, but in order to play the base game, you need these 3 characters no matter what. The most ideal console to play this game on would either be a PS4 or Xbox One, but seeing as those starter kits tend to go for absurdly high prices, you're better off either purchasing the set used or buying the previous gen console version and the disc for the current console like I did, because you'll save a ton of cash that way. Why drop $150 on the PS4 version when you can spend $20 on the Wii U starter kit and $5 on the PS4 disc, you know? And luckily, the entire story mode of the game only requires those 3 characters too, so no need to worry about only being able to play the first few levels of the campaign. The whole story follows Batman, Gandalf, and Wildstyle going on an adventure across dimensions the entire way through, and you can complete the base game from beginning to end with just them. But I'll be getting deeper into the story mode of the game in the next video of the series, so that's all I'm gonna say for now. Just know that you need these 3 characters and the toy pad in order to play the full game. You won't be able to access anything past the first cutscenes otherwise. To give you the basic gist of how the characters work, when you place a character tag on the toy pad, the device reads the data written on the tag and automatically adds the corresponding character to the game. For instance, when you place Batman on the toy pad, Batman loads into the game. I want to make it clear that it's not the minifigure the toy pad is reading, it's the toy tag that they stand on, so if anyone goes out and buys a Batman figure and wonders why it's not working, well, that would be why. Thankfully, Dimensions is super lenient on letting you play as any character you want at any time, meaning you don't have to play as Shell in the Portal 2 adventure world. You could be Batman or the Powerpuff Girls or Raven, and it ultimately wouldn't make a difference. Sure, there are some Portal exclusive challenges that only she would be able to accomplish, but just in terms of playing through the general overworld, you can be anyone you want. You could play the entire campaign with Sonic the Hedgehog if you really wanted to. Each world is designed to be played by more than just the characters associated with it, which is great game design when you own all the characters, but when you don't own them and you have to resort to the hire a hero method, it's a total pain in the ass. I'll get this out of the way now so I don't have to harp on it too much during the rest of the series. Hire a Hero is an in-game option where you can pay a certain amount of studs to borrow a particular character you don't own for 2 minutes of gameplay in order to solve puzzles. Sometimes they cost 15,000 studs, sometimes they cost 50,000. Sometimes you don't have to pay a fee to hire them again, and other times you do. Sometimes the game fails to load the puzzle that said hero is hired for, causing you to lose time and waste your studs. Sometimes the game will cheat you and load in 2 different hire a heroes so that you blow more of your studs when the second character option that's available is capable of performing the same task that the first hire does. And sometimes there are tasks that require you to place a character tag on the toy pad anyways, even though you don't own them, and you don't find this out until after you've wasted the studs hiring them. Needless to say, I detest the way that was handled. I mean, it's apparently obvious that the game was designed this way on purpose in order to agitate players so much that they decide to go out and purchase the figures just so they don't have to deal with the frustration. So, yes, I cannot recommend this game when you don't have access to a good number of characters because the game constantly walls off content left and right on purpose. However, as I said, now that I do have the option to use all the characters in the game, I am able to experience it as intended, which is the main reason why I'm making this series in the first place. So with that said, as far as the character content of the game goes, LEGO Dimensions had all of its character expansions released in the form of one of 4 different kinds of packs: story packs, level packs, team packs, and fun packs. Most of these differ simply in the type of content that you receive from purchasing them. First and foremost, let's get the fun packs out of the way. Fun packs were the smallest option of the bunch, containing only 1 vehicle and 1 character each. The nice thing about LEGO Dimensions is that in order to unlock a particular adventure world, you only need to own 1 character from the franchise it's representing. So for example, if you decide to purchase the Sensei Wu Fun Pack, you instantly gain access to the LEGO Ninjago world despite only owning 1 of the Ninjago characters. Of course, you won't have access to everything in the Ninjago world because you won't own all of the characters, but at least you'll be able to get into it. The same holds true for team packs, which were essentially just 2 fun packs combined into 1. 2 characters with 1 vehicle each. Next up, there are level packs. Level packs come with 2 vehicles, 1 character, and an entirely new level designed for said pack. Sonic the Hedgehog was one of these cases where he came with both the tornado and his car, as well as a brand new stage that is otherwise inaccessible. It should be stated that some properties only had 1 pack released for it, like Sonic, meaning you have to purchase them no matter what in order to be able to 100% the game. And then, last but not least, there are story packs. Overall, there were only 3 story packs released for LEGO Dimensions following the first year of support: Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Ghostbusters 2016, and the LEGO Batman movie. Each of these packs came in the form of a larger sized LEGO box and included minifigures corresponding to their subject matter, as well as an entirely new portal-based design to attach to the toy pad. Plus, they took the level pack concept one step further by introducing an entire story, as the name would imply, rather than just 1 level, which is pretty cool. One major flaw with the LEGO Dimensions philosophy, however, is that it kind of expects you to have an interest in all of the different properties that are represented here. Given the nature of crossovers, the game made it a point to have the properties, well, cross over into each world. However, I know not everybody cares about every single property represented here. Hell, I'll say it right now. I have 0 interest in Harry Potter whatsoever, and am dreading when I have to cover that world's content. Other people might only be interested in the Adventure Time content, or the Sonic content, and only get the game for that purpose. So what happens when they go to play those levels, only to realize that some of the content of that particular adventure world is walled off behind characters they don't care about? They will likely get a little annoyed because they're being told that they can't access the game without paying more money for more figures they don't care about. That's exactly what I encountered when I experienced the Powerpuff Girls world for the first time. But now, I have a change of mind and I'm open to experiencing every property present in the game. Unfortunately, the only way around this issue would have been to design each level specifically for the characters that correspond to it, but then that kinda diminishes the whole reason for it being a crossover game in the first place. Not really sure that there's a compromise that could be made here, so it is what it is, I suppose. Now, with all that background out of the way, here is how I intend to cover this game. Initially, I thought that I could do a video on each individual character pack in order of release, but I realized that might overcomplicate things when it comes to talking about multiple packs that correspond to one property. DC Comics, for instance, would get almost 10 videos to itself, and that just seems a little redundant. Plus, it made deciding where to fit in my discussion of the adventure worlds a bit difficult. As such, I've instead decided that I'm going to be going by franchise instead. This means that rather than doing separate videos on Homer, Bart, and Krusty, I will just make one Simpsons video that lumps all 3 character packs together along with the exclusive level and adventure world. I think this makes things the simplest they can be. Portal 2 will get one video, the Lego Movie will get one video, Gremlins will get one video, etc, etc. As far as the video order goes, I will be going in release order based on when the first pack of that property was released. So, for example, using The Simpsons again, I will be covering all 3 characters at once based on when Homer was released, since he was in the first wave of character packs. To me, this method just makes the most sense for organizational purposes. As such, using this criteria, this is my intended release order for all of the properties contained within LEGO Dimensions and the associated packs that come with it. First up, as I mentioned earlier, there will be a video on the main story mode campaign that comes with the starter pack and what all that entails. I intend to discuss all of the levels contained within it and how it stacks up as a game relative to the other LEGO video games that I've experienced. Following the main story mode will come each of the adventure worlds and the corresponding packs that go along with them. Going in order of release, Wave 1 of LEGO Dimensions gave players access to DC Comics, which had Wonder Woman, Cyborg, the Joker and Harley Quinn, Superman, Aquaman, Bane, Green Arrow, and Supergirl, the Lego Movie with Wildstyle, Emmett, Benny, Bad Cop, and Unikitty, Lord of the Rings featuring Gandalf, Gollum, Legolas, and Gimli, Back to the Future with Marty McFly and Doc Brown, Legends of Chima, Laval, Krager, and Eris, Jay, Nia, Zane, Kai and Cole, Sensei Wu, and Lloyd, The Wizard of Oz, The Wicked Witch of the West, Portal 2, Shell, Scooby-Doo, Scooby and Shaggy, The Simpsons, Homer, Bart, and Krusty, and Jurassic World with Owen and the ACU Trooper. Waves 2, 3, and 4 only came with one new adventure world each in the following order: Doctor Who with the Doctor and Cyberman, Ghostbusters with Peter Venkman, Slimer, and Stay Puft, and Midway Arcade with Gamer Kid. Wave 5 did not feature any new adventure worlds whatsoever. Following the 5th wave came the Year 2 content that was released for the game starting with Wave 6. Ghostbusters 2016, Abby Yates, Adventure Time, Finn, Jake and Lumpy Space Princess, and Marceline, Mission Impossible, Ethan Hunt, Harry Potter, Harry and Voldemort, and Hermione, The A-Team with B.A. Baracus. Next came Wave 7 with Fantastic Beasts, Newt Scamander and Tina Goldstein, Sonic the Hedgehog with Sonic the Hedgehog, Gremlins, Gizmo and Stripe, E.T., the Lego Batman Movie, Robin and Batgirl, and Excalibur Batman, and Knight Rider with Michael Knight. Wave 8 featured The Goonies with Sloth, and Lego City with Chase McCain. And the final wave, Wave 9, came with Teen Titans Go, Raven and Beast Boy, and Starfire, Beetlejuice, and Powerpuff Girls 2016, Blossom and Bubbles, and Buttercup. And there you have it. It's a lot, I know, but with the right mindset and having things planned out like this, I'm sure I'm up to the task. I intend to complete every world before making my video on it, so I will have the complete experience of everything that it has to offer before making my review, since I won't have to worry about being jaded by the terrible hire a hero mechanics. And there you have it. That's my plan going forward. If you're watching this before I've completed the project, then feel free to leave any suggestions for how I should go about tackling this project in the comments below, as well as any tips or tidbits of information regarding specific character packs that you'd like to share with me. I really want to have a lot of viewer input and interaction on this series in particular from you guys, so by all means, comment away. As a brief side note, I also plan on acknowledging the different battle arenas that came with each pack as well whenever applicable. Also, let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see me discuss regarding LEGO Dimensions besides what was mentioned in this video. I'm open to everyone's suggestions. With that said, I hope you're looking forward to the series, and I'll catch you guys next time when I kick things off by looking at the LEGO Dimensions starter pack and the main campaign mode that comes along with it. Until next time, Shadowstreak, signing off.
The end.
End? Oh, the journey doesn't end here.